The unstoppable force. The Krell Empire's war fleet hung in space like a storm of metal and death. 400 ships, each one a monument to destruction, arranged themselves in perfect formation above Nova Prime. In 3 years, they had crushed 47 star systems. Not conquered, crushed. The Krell did not believe in mercy. Commander Vex stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Destroyer of Worlds. His 4 arms crossed over his massive chest as he studied the tactical display. The blue planet below housed 8 million human colonists. By tomorrow, it would be another dead rock in space, just like all the others. "Commander," his tactical officer spoke, his voice carrying the clicking sounds of their native tongue. "We detect one vessel defending the system." "One?" Vex's mandibles clicked in what passed for laughter among his species. "Show me this lone defender." The hologram materialized before him. A single human battleship, designation Thunder, floated between the Krell fleet and Nova Prime. It was large for a human vessel, 2 kilometers long, but compared to the Krell armada, it looked like an insect facing a tsunami. "Should we send the standard surrender terms, Commander?" the communications officer asked. "Yes, give them 1 hour, though I doubt they will need that long to realize their situation is hopeless." Aboard the Thunder, Captain James Miller stood with his hands behind his back, studying his own tactical display. His weathered face showed no emotion as he counted the enemy ships. 412. The odds were actually worse than intelligence had predicted. "Captain," First Officer Lisa Park approached him, her voice steady despite the situation. "The crew is at battle stations. All 500 have confirmed they're staying." Miller nodded. He had given everyone the chance to evacuate. Not one person had taken it. They all knew what those ships out there had done to other worlds. The Krell did not take prisoners. They did not accept surrender. They destroyed everything and moved on. "Energy readings from the experimental core are unusual, sir," Park continued, checking her tablet. "The quantum resonance is fluctuating beyond normal parameters." "Let it fluctuate," Miller replied. "We're going to need every bit of power we can get." Lieutenant Tom Roberts spoke up from the weapons station. "Captain, receiving transmission from the Krell flagship. Put it through." The main screen flickered to life, showing Commander Vex in all his terrifying glory. The Krell stood 3 meters tall, covered in natural armor plating that looked like polished obsidian. His 4 arms ended in claws that could tear through steel. His 6 eyes, arranged in 2 rows, burned with red light. "Human vessel," Vex spoke, his translator converting the clicks and growls into English. "I am Commander Vex of the glorious Krell Empire. You have 1 hour to power down your weapons and accept your fate. Your world will be cleansed as all worlds before it." "This is not negotiable." Miller stepped forward. "Commander Vex, I am Captain James Miller of the Earth Alliance Battleship Thunder. We have received your terms. Then you will surrender?" "No." Vex's mandibles clicked rapidly. Surprise, perhaps. "You have 1 ship. We have 400. You cannot possibly believe you will survive." "Commander, with respect, you've been conquering peaceful worlds, mining colonies, science stations, planets that never knew war." Miller's voice remained calm, almost conversational. "Earth is different. We've been fighting wars for 10,000 years. We've gotten very, very good at it. Empty boasts will not save your world, human. Not boasting, just stating facts." Miller gestured to his communications officer to cut the channel. As the screen went dark, he turned to his crew. "All hands, this is the captain. Shut down all non-essential systems. Route every spare watt of power to weapons and shields. Activate the adaptation protocols." "Sir," Park said quietly. "The adaptation system has never been tested in actual combat." "Then we're about to give it one hell of a field test." Miller returned to his command chair. "How long until they attack?" "Based on their previous engagements, they'll maintain formation for exactly 1 hour, then begin bombardment," Roberts reported. Miller nodded, his fingers dancing over his armrest controls. The Thunder began to hum, a deep vibration that seemed to come from the very bones of the ship. Through the viewports, the crew could see a faint shimmer beginning to surround their vessel. "Let them come," Miller said, his voice carrying to every corner of the bridge. "They've never fought humans before." The first surprise. The hour passed in silence. On 400 Krell ships, warriors prepared their weapons with the mechanical precision of those who had never known defeat. They had perfected the art of destruction, turning it into a science. Every movement, every formation, every shot had been calculated and recalculated across 100 conquered worlds. Commander Vex watched the chronometer tick down to 0. The human ship hadn't moved. It simply waited there, a lone guardian standing before an unstoppable tide. Foolish pride, Vex muttered. Begin attack formation Delta 7. The Krell fleet moved as one organism. The smaller attack vessels formed into a perfect arrow shape, while the heavy cruisers spread into flanking positions. The destroyers held back, ready to deliver the killing blow. It was the same formation that had broken the defense fleet at Rigel Station. The same one that had shattered the collective navy of the Theta Alliance. Commander, the tactical officer announced. The human vessel is doing something. Vex leaned forward. On the screen, the thunder was beginning to glow. Not with weapons fire, but with something else. The shimmer around it had become visible, like heat waves rising from hot sand. Energy analysis, Vex barked. Unknown, Commander. The readings are, they keep changing. Every time our sensors lock onto the frequency, it shifts. No matter. All ships commence bombardment. Pattern Sigma. 400 ships open fire at once. Plasma beams, particle cannons, antimatter missiles. Enough firepower to crack a moon in half, all converged on the single human battleship. Aboard the Thunder, Captain Miller gripped his armrest. All hands brace for impact! The first wave hit them like the fist of God. The ship shuddered, alarms screamed, and for a moment it seemed like they would be vaporized, just like every other fool who had stood against the Krell. But they weren't. Captain! Lieutenant Roberts shouted over the noise. Shields are holding! More than holding, they're getting stronger! What? Park ran to the engineering console. That's impossible. These readings, the shields are absorbing the enemy fire and converting it to additional defensive power. Miller allowed himself a small smile. The adaptation protocol. Dr. White said it would learn from any attack it survived. Sir, the computer is analyzing their weapon signatures, Roberts reported. It's creating counter-frequencies in real time. Their second volley will be even less effective than the first. Through the chaos of enemy fire, Miller stood. Then let's show them what humans learned from 10,000 years of warfare. All weapons return fire. Use their own energy signatures against them. The thunder erupted in response. But instead of the standard blue-white of human plasma weapons, the beams that lanced out were the same purple-red as Krell armaments. They had taken the enemy's own weapons frequencies and improved them. The first beam struck a Krell destroyer. Its shields, designed to stop everything except their own weapon signatures, offered no resistance. The ship exploded in a ball of superheated gas, then another explosion, and another. In 12 seconds, 3 Krell ships were gone. Ships that had never known defeat, crewed by warriors who had never experienced fear, simply ceased to exist. Impossible, Vex roared. No single ship could have such power. Commander, his science officer's voice trembled. The human vessel, it learned. It's using our own weapons against us, but modified, improved. Our shields can't stop them. All ships, switch to randomized frequencies. Don't give their computers time to adapt. But even as the order went out, the thunder was already adjusting. Every shot from the Krell fleet made it stronger, taught it more. The human battleship danced between incoming fire with impossible grace, its engines burning brighter than any ship that size should be able to manage. Captain Miller, Park reported, we're approaching optimal efficiency. The ship has cataloged 80% of their weapon types. Good, open a channel. All frequencies. Miller faced the communication screen, knowing every Krell ship would see him. Commander Vex, this is Captain Miller. You asked if we believed we could survive. We don't believe, we know. Your empire was built on crushing the weak. But humanity? We spent millennia crushing each other and we survived. We adapted. We evolved. And now we stand. He cut the channel and turned to his crew. Phase 2. Show them what one human ship can really do. The thunder surged forward, no longer defending but attacking. It carved through space like a blade of light, its weapons cycling through thousands of frequencies per second, each one perfectly calibrated to bypass Krell defenses. 5 more Krell ships exploded, then 10. then 20. For the first time in 3 years, for the first time in 47 conquered systems, the Krell Empire knew fear. The Turning Point Commander Vex's bridge was in chaos. Officers shouted reports over each other, their usual discipline cracking like ice under pressure. 23 ships destroyed by one enemy vessel. The tactical displays showed the impossible. The human battleship was everywhere at once, moving faster than their targeting computers could track. "Get me Fleet Command," Vex roared. "Priority 1 distress signal to all ships in neighboring systems. We need reinforcements now." His communications officer's claws flew over the controls. Signals sent to systems Krell Prima, Krell Beta, and Krell Terminus. Estimated arrival, 40 minutes. 40 minutes, Vex muttered. At this rate, they'd lose half their fleet before help arrived. "All ships, switch to swarm tactics. Overwhelm them with numbers." The Krell fleet abandoned their formations, each ship attacking independently. It should have worked. No single vessel, no matter how advanced, could track 400 individual attackers. Captain Miller watched the Krell break formation and smiled. "They're panicking. Good. Lieutenant Roberts, execute split protocol." "Sir, are you sure? We've never tested it outside of simulations." "Do it." Roberts entered the command sequence. The Thunder began to vibrate, its hull glowing brighter. Then, impossibly, it began to separate. Not breaking apart, dividing. Like a cell undergoing mitosis, the massive battleship split into 5 smaller vessels, each one fully armed and operational. "Sweet Mother of Earth," Park whispered. It actually worked. 5 Thunder segments now danced through space, each one targeting different sections of the Krell fleet. They moved in perfect synchronization, as if controlled by a single mind, which, in a way, they were. The quantum entanglement cores in each section maintained instantaneous communication. "This is Thunder Alpha," Miller commanded from the lead section. "All segments engage at will. Show them what human engineering can do," Engineer Bob Wilson reported from his station, his voice filled with pride. "Captain, all 5 segments are operating at full capacity. The quantum cores are stable. We're literally in 5 places at once." The Krell fleet's confusion turned to panic. Where before they had faced one impossible enemy, now they faced 5. Each segment of the Thunder had retained the adaptation protocol, and they shared their learning instantly. When one segment encountered a new weapon type, all 5 immediately developed countermeasures. "Commander!" the Krell tactical officer screamed. "They're everywhere! Our targeting systems can't—" His words were cut off as Thunder Gamma materialized beside a Krell cruiser and fired point-blank into its reactor core. The explosion took out 3 nearby ships. Vex watched his perfect fleet being torn apart by what should have been impossible. How? How can they do this? His science officer pulled up the scan data. "Commander, I'm detecting quantum entanglement signatures. The humans, they've weaponized quantum mechanics itself. Each ship segment exists in a state of superposition until they choose to strike. Target their communication systems. If they can't coordinate, sir, there's something else." The science officer's voice dropped. "I'm detecting traces of our own technology in their weapons. Zephron pulse cannons from the conquered Zephron Empire, Delaxian shield harmonics, even our own Krell bio-neural interfaces. They've taken technology from every race we've conquered and improved it." The realization hit Vex like a physical blow. The humans hadn't just been defending their world. They'd been studying, learning, preparing. Miller's voice crackled across all channels. "Commander Vex, you're probably wondering how we're doing this. The answer is simple. Every world you destroyed, some refugees escaped. They came to us. They shared their technology, their knowledge, their anger. Earth became a haven for the galaxy's survivors. And survivors? We know how to fight back." Thunder Beta suddenly appeared within the Krell formation and released something new, a viral program that infiltrated the Krell's hive mind network. The Krell's greatest strength had always been their ability to coordinate perfectly, their networked consciousness allowing them to fight as one. Now that network became their weakness. Warning! Warning! Alarms screamed across every Krell ship. Neural network compromised. "Firewall breached! Impossible!" Vex slammed his fist into his command console. "Our hive mind is encrypted with quantum-level protection." Dr. Anna White's voice joined the transmission from Thunder Delta. Quantum encryption? Yes, very impressive. Took us almost 3 months to crack it. But you see, Commander, humans have always been good at breaking things that were supposed to be unbreakable. It's kind of our specialty. 20 Krell ships suddenly turned their weapons on their own fleet. Their crews screamed in confusion as their bodies moved against their will, the viral program turning their own hive mind against them. Cut all neural links, Vex commanded. Every ship operate independently. But cutting the neural links meant losing their coordination entirely. The Krell fleet, which had functioned as a perfect organism for generations, suddenly became 400 confused individuals. Through the viewport, Vex saw new contacts appearing on the edge of the system. His reinforcements had arrived early, 3 full battle groups, another 600 ships. For a moment, hope flickered in his chest. Then the lead reinforcement ship sent a single transmission. By the void! What is that thing? They could see what Vex couldn't from inside the battle. The 5 segments of the Thunder had begun to glow brighter, their energy signatures sinking into something new, something terrible. Part 4. The human spirit. The 5 segments of the Thunder spiraled through space in a complex dance, their paths forming a perfect pentagram. Energy crackled between them, growing brighter with each passing second. Then, as suddenly as they had split, they merged back into one. But the reformed Thunder was different. It pulsed with captured Krell energy, its hull seeming to shift between solid and pure light. The ship had absorbed so much enemy fire, converted so much destructive power, that it had transformed into something beyond its original design. Captain Miller felt the change through his neural link to the ship. The Thunder wasn't just a battleship anymore. It was a living testament to human adaptability. "Captain," Dr. Anna White called from the science station, "the temporal displacement drive is online. We've absorbed enough energy to power it." "Temporal displacement?" Park asked. "That was just theoretical." "Not anymore," White replied. "The Krell's attacks gave us the power we needed. We can now exist in multiple time streams simultaneously." Miller nodded slowly. "So we can be in the past, present, and future at the same time?" "For approximately 10 minutes, yes. After that, the quantum field will collapse and we'll snap back to normal space-time." Outside, the Krell reinforcement fleet had joined the battle. 600 fresh ships, plus the 300 survivors from the original fleet. Nearly 1,000 vessels now surrounded the single human battleship. Commander Vex, his pride overcoming his fear, opened a channel to the entire fleet. "All ships! Concentrate all firepower on the human vessel. One ship cannot stand against the might of the entire Krell Empire." Miller stood from his command chair. "All hands, this is the captain. They outnumber us 1,000 to 1. They have conquered dozens of worlds. They believe they cannot lose." He paused. "Let's show them what humans do when the odds are impossible. Activate temporal displacement. All weapons free. Let's make history." The Thunder shimmered and suddenly existed in 3 different moments. Past Thunder appeared behind the Krell fleet. Present Thunder remained in the center. Future Thunder materialized above them. All 3 versions opened fire simultaneously. The Krell fleet found themselves being attacked from 3 temporal positions at once. Shots came from angles that didn't exist, from positions the Thunder hadn't reached yet, from places it had already been. Their targeting computers crashed, unable to process an enemy that violated causality itself. "This is impossible," Vex's science officer wailed. "They're shooting at us from the future. How do we defend against attacks that haven't happened yet but already hit us?" 50 Krell ships exploded in the first 30 seconds. The temporal displacement didn't just confuse their targeting, it multiplied the Thunder's firepower by 3. Every weapon system fired from past, present, and future simultaneously. But Vex hadn't become commander of the Krell Empire's greatest fleet by giving up. "Deploy the planet killer! If we cannot have this system, no one will." From the belly of his mothership, a vessel larger than Earth's moon, a weapon emerged. The planet killer had ended civilizations. One shot could crack a world's core, turning it into an expanding cloud of debris. It had never been survived, never been stopped. "Captain," Roberts shouted. "Massive energy buildup from the Krell mothership. Oh God, it's aimed at Nova Prime." 8 million colonists. Men, women, children. all about to die because humanity had dared to fight back. Miller didn't hesitate. All temporal versions converge on my position. We're going to catch it. Catch it? Park's voice cracked. Captain, that weapon has the power to destroy planets. Then it has the power to destroy fleets too. Trust me, the three versions of the Thunder merged back into a single timeline, positioning directly between the Planet Killer and Nova Prime. The weapon fired, a beam of pure annihilation, red as blood and wide as a city. The Thunder didn't dodge. It opened every port, extended every collection array, and welcomed the apocalyptic energy into itself. The bridge erupted in alarms. Hull temperature exceeded all safety limits. The quantum core screamed in protest. But the adaptation protocol held, learning even from this ultimate weapon, absorbing its power, converting it. Captain, Wilson shouted from engineering, we're at 300% capacity. 400! 500! The ship can't take much more. Hold, Miller commanded. Hold! For 30 seconds, that felt like hours. The Thunder swallowed the Planet Killer's beam. The ship glowed like a newborn star, its hull beginning to buckle under the impossible energies. Then the beam ended. The Planet Killer had spent its charge. The Thunder hung in space, glowing so brightly it hurt to look at. Every system was redlined. Every alarm was screaming. Miller smiled. Return to sender. The Thunder fired. Not with its weapons, but with its entire being. It released all the captured energy of the Planet Killer in a single, omnidirectional pulse. The wave of destruction expanded outward at the speed of light. It hit the nearest Krell ships first, vaporizing them instantly. Then the next ring and the next. Half the Krell fleet, 500 ships, simply ceased to exist, erased by their own ultimate weapon. Vex's mothership, being the furthest away, survived but barely. Its shields were gone, its weapons destroyed, its engines dead in space. The commander stood on his ruined bridge, watching the impossible. One ship, one human ship, had destroyed the greatest fleet in the galaxy. Miller opened a channel to the mothership. Commander Vex, your Planet Killer is destroyed. Your fleet is broken. You have two choices. Surrender. Or we'll show you what else humanity has learned. The new Galaxy Commander Vex stood amid the wreckage of his bridge. Sparks fell from torn conduits like burning rain. Of the 1,000 ships that had come to destroy Nova Prime, only his mothership remained functional, and barely that. The greatest armada in galactic history had been reduced to scrap metal by a single human vessel. Commander, his communications officer whispered, the human captain is requesting direct communication. Put him through, Vex said, his voice hollow. Miller's face appeared on the cracked main screen. Behind him, Vex could see the human bridge crew, 500 souls who had stood against an empire and won. Commander Vex, Miller began, his tone surprisingly respectful. I need you to understand something. This didn't have to happen. None of it did. You dare lecture me? Vex snarled, but the fire had gone out of his words. We are the Krell. We have conquered half the galaxy. No, Miller corrected. You destroyed half the galaxy? There's a difference. Conquerors build. You only knew how to tear down. He paused. Your empire was built on a simple belief that might makes right, that the strong should dominate the weak. But you made one fatal mistake? What mistake? You assumed Earth was weak because we had fewer ships. But strength isn't about numbers, Commander. It's about will. It's about standing up when you're outnumbered. It's about protecting those who can't protect themselves. That's what humans do. We don't always win, but we always fight. Vex's forearms trembled. How? How did one ship do this? You want the truth? It wasn't one ship. Miller gestured to his crew. It was 500 humans who refused to run. It was thousands of refugees from worlds you destroyed sharing their knowledge with us. It was Earth's entire population, working for 3 years to build this ship. It was every species you ever conquered, their hopes and dreams of freedom built into our hull. Dr. White stepped forward. Commander, our quantum cores are linked to transmitters throughout the galaxy. Every world you've conquered is about to receive a message. What message? Miller stood. That the Krell can be beaten. That freedom is possible. That fear only has the power you give it. Across the galaxy, on 47 conquered worlds, hidden receivers activated. The message spread like wildfire through underground networks, refugee camps, and slave colonies. It showed the destruction of the Krell fleet. It carried technical specifications for weapons that could pierce Krell shields. It brought something that hadn't existed in years. Hope. No. Vex slammed his fists on his console. You don't understand. Without the Empire's order, there will be chaos. Wars, billions will die. Maybe, Miller admitted. Freedom is messy. It's dangerous. It's unpredictable. But it's better than slavery, always. Commander, Vex's tactical officer interrupted. Reports coming in from across the Empire. Rebellions on every conquered world. The slave armies are turning on their overseers. The mining colonies are in revolt. The fleet bases are under attack. Vex watched his empire crumble in real time on the tactical display. 47 worlds rising up simultaneously. The Krell forces, spread thin across the galaxy, couldn't respond to all of them at once. You've doomed us all, Vex said quietly. No, Miller replied. We've freed them all. And now, Commander, I have one more thing to show you. On the main screen, space behind the thunder began to shimmer. One by one, ships appeared, not just one or two, but dozens. All human design, all glowing with the same adaptive energy as the thunder. 52 ships, Miller explained. One for each conquered world, plus a few extras. We call them the Liberation Fleet. Earth has been busy, Commander. We knew this day would come. We knew someone would eventually bring war to our door. So we prepared, Park added. Each ship carries the same adaptive technology, the same temporal displacement drives, the same quantum cores. Your weapons made one of them stronger. Imagine what they'll become after facing different enemies, learning from every battle. But we're not conquerors, Miller continued. These ships won't build an empire. They'll protect those who can't protect themselves. They'll stand between the strong and the weak. They'll ensure that what the Krell did never happens again. Vex straightened, finding some remnant of his pride. So you'll destroy us? Wipe us out as we did to others? No, Miller said simply. That would make us no better than you. Your military is broken. Your empire is finished. But your species will survive. You'll return to your homeworld and you'll rebuild. But this time you'll do it without slaves, without conquered worlds to pillage. You'll learn to stand on your own, or you'll fall on your own. The other species will want revenge. They'll come for us, probably. But that's not our problem. You made your choices, Commander. Now you live with the consequences. Miller paused. Though I will give you one gift. A message to carry back to your homeworld. What message? That humans are watching. If the Krell ever again raise weapons against the innocent, if you ever again try to build an empire on the backs of the conquered, we will return. And next time, we won't be so merciful. The channel closed. Through his viewport, Vex watched the human fleet spread out, each ship heading to a different conquered world. They would arrive as liberators, not conquerors. They would break chains, not forge new ones. His communications officer spoke quietly. Commander, we're receiving reports. The humans are broadcasting instructions for building shields that can stop Krell weapons. They're teaching the freed worlds how to defend themselves. They're not conquering, Vex said, understanding finally dawning. They're arming everyone against anyone who would try to conquer again. Within days, the Krell Empire, which had stood for 1,000 years, collapsed entirely. Not from external invasion, but from internal revolution. Every species they had ever stepped on now stood up, armed with human knowledge and their own burning desire for freedom. On Earth, a month later, Captain Miller stood before the United Earth Council. The thunder floated in orbit above, scarred but victorious, a symbol of humanity's finest hour. The galaxy is free, Miller reported. The Krell Empire is no more. The liberated worlds are forming their own governments, their own defenses. Some have asked to join an alliance with Earth. Others want to stand alone. We're respecting their choices. The council president nodded. And the Krell? Confined to their home system. Their military capability is permanently destroyed. It will take them generations to rebuild, if they can at all. Some are calling for us to establish our own empire, the president said carefully. With our technology, we could easily control the galaxy. Miller shook his head. With respect, Madam President, that's not who we are. We're not conquerors. We're guardians. We're the ones who stand up to bullies, not become them. He looked out the window at the stars. The galaxy doesn't need another empire. It needs protectors. It needs hope. It needs to know that somewhere out there someone will stand between them and the darkness. That's what humanity can be. Not rulers, but shields. Not conquerors, but liberators. The president smiled. Well said, Captain. The Liberation Fleet will continue its mission. Earth stands ready to defend any who cannot defend themselves. In the depths of space, aboard his damaged mothership limping back to the Krell homeworld, Commander Vex studied the recordings of the battle over and over. One ship, 500 humans. They had ended an empire that had stood for a millennium. His science officer approached. Commander, I've analyzed their technology. Given time, we could potentially develop countermeasures. No, Vex interrupted. Don't you understand? It wasn't their technology that beat us. It was their spirit, their refusal to surrender, their willingness to die for others' freedom. We conquered bodies, but they conquered fear itself. He turned to face his bridge crew. Send word to the homeworld. Tell them the age of empire is over. Tell them the humans have risen. And tell them that perhaps it's time the Krell learned a different way to live. Back on the Thunder, Captain Miller stood on the observation deck with his crew. Below them, Nova Prime spun peacefully, its 8 million souls safe for another day. Captain, Lieutenant Roberts asked, do you think we've really changed anything? Won't someone else just try to build another empire? Miller smiled. Probably, but that's okay. Because now the galaxy knows the truth. Bullies can fall. Empires can end. And sometimes, just sometimes, one ship standing in the right place at the right time can change everything. He placed his hand on the wall of the ship that had saved them all. We don't need an empire. We just needed one chance to show the galaxy that the strong don't always win. Sometimes the righteous do. Sometimes those who fight for others instead of themselves can turn the tide. First Officer Park joined them. What's our next mission, Captain? We patrol. We watch, we wait. And when someone somewhere needs a shield against the darkness, we'll be there. He looked at his crew, his family. That's what humans do. We stand guard, we hold the line, and we never, ever give up. The Thunder sailed into the stars, scarred but unbroken, carrying a simple message to the galaxy. Heroes are not those who conquer, but those who protect. And humanity would stand watch for as long as the stars burned in the sky. The end.